Today's video will continue the alternate future of the world series. Well, the first thing that happened is a war. What a shock. And, well, China decides it's a good time to declare war on, well, India. Yes, they can. Yes, they're imperialistic, and they don't like their southern imperialistic nation, believing it to be a potential threat. A potential ally to the totalitarian Russians. Meaning, if that's the case, in a war, they'll be fighting two fronts. But if they can get rid of this fast, they don't need to worry about that. And they forgot to bring part of their country to the war. Yes, they annexed the Philippines. I guess they forgot they did, maybe? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe they forgot that. Maybe. Or they didn't. Who knows? And well, let's get the rest of their country involved. And well, they've made a front over there, as you can see. And they're breaking into the mountains. And through the jungles. And well, they quickly have the front like this. Their imperialism is not a fan of this country. With India managing to have their front line like that. But what they didn't expect would be a successful offensive in Myanmar part of their country, which they literally get pushed back and circled and everything, and completely kicked back to their main areas of their country. But they managed to push back over in this front line, and over here, but a stalemate's formed. And while this was happening, China starts an offensive into the mountains, and quickly they start moving through them. Well, then they move into the northern parts, and they move into the Afghanistan and Pakistan areas with very little counter-resistance. Very little counter-resistance, another counter-offensive. Their front line's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. As they start moving back into the Bangladesh area, and they quickly manage to take it. And India's front line is starting to get weaker and weaker. And while many nations are not very happy about this, there's not really anything they can do to stop this. Well, this is what happens. They get pushed back all the way to there. All the way to there. Their capital's gone, everything, basically. Just their few cities, just a few cities. And them launching an offensive over here. And then over there. And then over here, this nation has no chance of surviving anymore. With their country capitulating. And the peace treaty is going to be interesting. Knowingly, Imperial China realizes they can't annex the full country. They can annex pretty big chunks, but they'll need to do something with the majority of the country, not its imperialized areas, but a big chunk of the country. So they decide to make a few puppets. So let's see how the peace treaty goes. India, and then all their areas in the Myanmar and Thailand area, all of Afghanistan, northern Pakistan, and northern main areas of India, with them creating a northern India state, a Pakistan state, a Kerala state, another South India, Sri Lanka. This is Bengal, but not really Bangladesh. Part of it is in Bengali, so we'll call it we'll call it West Bangladesh. Yeah, we'll have West Bangladesh. And we have India, which is a big one. But it lost a part of its country. So now China literally has more power. But they decide they're not done yet. They're going to annex the rest of the countries that aren't annexed yet. Yeah, exactly. They're just going to continue their idea. They're just expand, 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 expand. More expansion means nobody can stop me, because there's going to be a war soon. And I might be on my own. Definitely against what's known is that they're definitely going to be against Russia. The European Federation's definitely going to be against them, but they don't know if they'll be with them. And in that war, it'll definitely have the European Federation on one side, the Russians on another, and the North American and the democracies on the other. Well, guess what? The Arabian Peninsula unifies. Well, this is interesting, I guess. While everyone's distracted on Earth, something happens on the moon. And you may say, what? Yeah, a bunch of the Lunar Republic decides all of this area belongs to them. They put out a claim for everyone. Except because I gave SpaceX a country. That's the only country they decide not to invade. Because they don't mind humans coming here so they can conquer the humans. Oh wait, they changed their mind and decide to invade it. Yes, we have the company owning a country. That's kind of weird, honestly. But that's really what will happen. With Brazil's moon territory collapsing. And well, on the moon, Russia and this area gets in trouble. Because now it's like a two-front war. In the Lunar Republic, some has the most, like, the biggest military and strongest everything. And well, yeah, this isn't good looking. Let's go back to the Earth. Yeah. Wait, what? That did not work as well as I thought it would. As they move in, they decide they'll conquer everything. That's like, in this world, you need everything. All I know about the next war right now in this series, the next global war, next global conflict, is that it'll definitely be three-sided. There's no way it won't be at this point. Could it be four-sided? Yes, entirely possible. This war isn't going to be normal. It's going to be multiple sides. What the good news is China has control over the Indian subcontinent, which they plan to annex the rest of in the future because they're puppets. But finally, seeing that puppetism is not looking good in this world, they decide to allow this country to join that. Well, for some reason, South Brazil and Paraguay decide to join Argentina to form the South American Union. Now trying to get Brazil and Bolivia, Peru to join, because it's not a point in getting nations that don't border. You can't get Colombia as part of this super state. Wait, I just realized this has 4 super states. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of which are not good countries. 1 of which is a good country. So I'd say most likely we'll be down to 2 countries. 2, like, super areas occupied. Well, that's not going to be good. It'll probably mean, but if this is a area that falls, it means this world will have a bad time. But if it goes the other way, that's good. But if it ends up with 2 nations, well, at this point, I'd say the strongest nation is probably the North American Union. Then we probably closely follow it by Russia, actually it's probably the North American Union, China, Russia, the European Federation, followed by probably Australia, by Arabia, probably followed by Central Africa. And well, we need to look at the top 10 countries of the year. I think I'll make them colonize the world, because I feel like it sometimes. Making everybody just colonize the world, it just makes sense. Well, let's see. Will Wild Mapper do anything about this? Well, they have a plan. Well, I don't know if anybody will like it, but it's a good plan. They plan on just conquering the world. They plan on conquering the moon. And I don't know why. Edit, undo. I shouldn't be getting rid of cities. It's not a good idea. Huh? That didn't work. Finally it worked. Well, we got Brazil annexed, Indonesia. We got all the countries on the moon except the Lunar Republic and Wild Mapper is all that's left. Well, we can see 2 of the countries are gone. Not 2, a bunch are already annexed. It takes a while to annex nations. You're going to get rid of the border. But all the nations still appear to be here on paper. And everybody wants their territory on the moon back, but due to their stubbornness, they didn't do it. They didn't achieve what their plans were. There's nothing left on the moon. As you can see, those are the only 2 countries already, as I can see. And look, see, we're like, that's pretty easy though. Just getting rid of the name tags. I only name them because it's hard to remember. Okay, leave that there. Well, that's all for the moon. Except one more thing to do. Now we can go back to Earth. And while China decides to form an alliance, we'll call it the Gold Alliance, which basically is their alliance as the nations they plan on annexing in the future involved in. Well, now to do one more thing, create Puppet Land. Well, then they make all these puppets, as you can see. Wait, what? What was that? I don't know. Let's try it again. I got fixed, and as you can see, they conquered the world, basically. But the strongest alliance is clearly that. But it's hard to say. Could one of the countries be potentially stronger? Yes. Technically, this alliance could fail when it's fighting 3 enemies or 2 enemies. It's technically possible, but it's unlikely. It's very rare that the democracies lose in my videos for some reason. As the Lunar Republic has taken over the moon, basically. But not all of it. That's impossible, I guess. But that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but until you subscribe, so we get to 3,000 subscribers by February 1st. Bye, guys!